If tontattas are fairies that live on Greenbit, does that make them green fairies? If Shanks has future sight, what's he doing supposedly testing Barto? Don't get me wrong, Barto crushed it, but you know what I mean. Sup people of the internet, it's Den Den Kushi, and today we're having a really cool look into a strong theory involving the green fairy absinthe the giants gave Luffy in the Straw Hats, and the small potion Shanks gave to Barto. Don't forget we have some cool merch and giveaways going out now with free postage for members, so get your orders in ASAP before everything's gone if you did want something. If you have any questions about the theory or any corrections, just throw them in the comments or hit me up on Discord, and without further ado, subscribe and let's start cooking. So, the Straw Hats, the Sunny and the Giants leave Elbaf with the boats side by side. Couple chapters later, Sentomaru is seen rowing away from Egghead 2, so maybe Sentomaru will join us shortly. Anywho, everyone tries to party but gives up after just a single drink because Luffy is so bummed out over the whole Vegapunk death situation. Shortly after, Luffy eats some grapes, has a chat with Lilith, and everyone's happy again. So, back to partying, where someone thinks it's a good idea to give the Straw Hats a very strong alcohol called absinthe, a drink that in the real world is traditionally made with flowers and medicinal plants. Amongst these chapters, there's some scenes dotted here and there showing the reader other locations and what's going down. Included in this is a little side story where Shanks gives Barto a supposed poison and tells him to give it to Luffy. Barto drinks the poison instead, but survives as it's not actually poison. Big surprise. And he sails away happily until Yasop steps up and yeets the entire ship into the sea with one bullet. So that's pretty much our intro. And now here is the main course. The drink was said to be absinthe. Absinthe is giga strong, right? The name was Green Fairy. Green Fairy evokes Peter Pan vibes, which isn't the first Peter Pan references we've ever had in One Piece. And here probably ties into the whole sustained childhood development issues we'll get into with Loki and the Lego set vibes, right? Which in comparison we did see with Big Mom, somebody who's in her 70s, I believe, but is regressive constantly. It's her daughter that ties to Loki, and it's Nami that's been taken all of a sudden, and Nami obviously connects to Big Mom through Zeus. So there could be something going on here with Big Mom, particularly as we do expect her to arrive back in the story reasonably soon. We also got the 4 bridges and their names revealed in the chapter previous. So now we ask, what happens when you put 4 seas together? You get the All Blue, a place where fish and other species from around the world can mix. And so what happens when you put 4 bridges together? You get the All Land, a place where people and all sorts of other species can mix. From the All Blue, Sanji says, you get special fish, or at least you can make recipes that can only come from the All Blue. They're exclusive to that mix of 4 seas. The 4 bridges we were told about are all named after alcohol. So is it possible that in the same sense there's a particular alcohol that you can only get or create from the All Land, so to speak? Okay, well, what's significant about alcohol that comes from all around the world? It's because it's indicative of the whole BINK'S sake vibes, going to deliver it all around the world, east to west, north to south, as the lyrics indicate. But how does this tie into the Green Fairy absinthe? Well, in the chapter, absinthe was said to make people hallucinate. This is based around the real-life mythos of absinthe, as many people who are already familiar with the drink are probably familiar with the term Green Fairy. The reason for these hallucinatory ties are due to a chemical called thujone, or wormwood, and in large doses when people drink it in absinthe, it can cause them to hallucinate. Will of Fire in the TLA Discord pointed out that absinthe usually is used as a base to mix other drinks with and dilute it considering its strength. And also it comes from, as I said, wormwood, which might have some ties to Elbaf, worms tying to the snakes, wood tying to the Adam tree, but we'll see about that. In One Piece, however, there is something else going on here, I believe. In the One Piece world, the fairy part of the name is likely indicative of the whole Elbaf fable vibes, meaning it's an Elbafi drink, but the green part of the name is where it gets way more significant. The green part of fairy, I believe, ties to an important but mysterious substance in the One Piece world, yet to be revealed in its raw form. I also believe that this substance is used in the making of BINK'S sake. This may be a mysterious resource that was at God Valley, implied further by thriller bark connections to BINK'S sake, and people speculating that thriller bark was once a part of God Valley. Oda's left breadcrumbs highlighting the importance and properties of this resource, particularly the fact it is green. Now, what's a precious green mineral called? An emerald. So whatever this mineral is, its origins could very well tie to the Emerald City, a place that is also yet to be revealed. But back to the breadcrumbs I mentioned, they are pretty distinct and pretty easy to trace. The most recent example would be green blood, which is a man-made green substance synthesized using lineage factor of devil fruit users in order to mimic a devil fruit's ability, with the substance itself acting as the subject's blood. This is by far the most developed usage of whatever green chemical is behind all these weird mutations. And in short, green blood allowed devil fruits to be imbued with cyborgs, which interestingly at the end of the arc is contrasted by Joy Boy putting Haki inside a cyborg, by which I mean the knot that contained Joy Boy's super powerful Haki. Much like green blood, SAD was a man-made green chemical that facilitated the mutation of animal forms, and were used to make zone fruits, pretty much exactly the same as what we saw with the green chemical Sick. First introduced in chapter 690, the vat that contained SAD discovered by Law had a prominent nuclear symbol on the center of the tank. Nuclear is often characterized as green and can be seen associated with mutation in other media. It's further suggested the pollution made by crafting SAD seems to have made the fighting fish, which we can tell from their resemblance to the fighting bull, fighting lion, and giant goldfish. These fighting fish mutated by green SAD just so happen to guard an island with a completely different aesthetic to the connecting Dressrosa Island, and it's called Green Bit. It's worth noting negotiations for SAD also took place on Green Bit. The only other place in the world that looks like Greenbit, indicating its possible origins, is the Greenstone Forest, which is in the Boyne Archipelago, and is the home to pop greens. Pop greens are plants that take on human forms, highlighted by the plants' names, for example, such as Human Drake. The other part of the Boyne Archipelago is where Big Mum's Forest of Gluttony resides, and Big Mum, as the sole soul fruit user, has some strange green spirit that comes out of her. This is also seen with Brooke, whose spirit often becomes disembodied and takes on the same green soul vibes. Brooke naturally brings us back to BINK'S sake through the song he and his crew sang, particularly to Laboon. Okay, maybe them last couple bits were starting to reach a little ever so slightly, but the point is, if you take alcohol from all around the world over these bridges and mix it together and then add a little bit of whatever this green stuff is, then what happens? Well, green-haired Barto might actually be the one to find out. We know that people get sick when they go to certain islands. We know that some people get sick when they go to the most important island in the story, Laugh-Tale. Whether this only affects devil fruit users, which is why Roger decided to not eat a devil fruit, or there's more to it, we're yet to be told, but either way we can be sure there's more to it that will get explained later. We can assume Luffy's going to Laugh-Tale, right? With the rest of the Straw Hats, and so with that many people going, we can pretty much be sure Oda will again include someone getting sick as to tie up that whole thread and give it an explanation. So maybe there's a prevention to this sickness altogether. Remember when Artor did that mega theory about how the One Piece is sake cups, and the guys get together and drink BINK'S sake and sing the song yada 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 and the story ends? Well, BINK'S sake certainly is super significant, so I could definitely picture it being a part of the process that the Straw Hats need to engage in order to reach Laugh-Tale. So maybe what Shanks gave to Barto to give to Luffy was in fact BINK'S sake. It certainly wasn't what he said it was, and a dude like Shanks doesn't need to test Barto with poison when he has such an intense future sight, while Barto is a puny little Luffy simp. After what happens to Barto when he leaves the island, we can be sure that Shanks isn't necessarily concerned about his welfare, so why not use real poison? I believe it's because Shanks was trying to give the properties of BINK'S sake to Luffy as a devil fruit user. Otherwise he'd get sick when he stepped foot on Laugh-Tale. Not only that, but I think it's made from alcohol that's brought from the four corners of the world kind of thing, and that it contains a trace of this green mineral which we see being used in other devil fruit applications. So, in conclusion, I think BINK'S sake is alcohol, united from around the world, combined with emerald. I believe that it was originally made in the Emerald City, and the substance was probably resourced from God Valley. This is why when years later Thriller Bark breaks off, it still embodies the whole BINK'S sake theme, particularly through Laboon as its main character. I believe BINK'S sake has great properties and can facilitate a transformation within devil fruit users. This might be the reason why the world government prohibits BINK'S sake, which we can tell because it's only transported by pirates, which we glean from the line about having a skull and crossbones on their sails. Perhaps BINK'S sake negates the effects of devil fruits entirely. After all, Barto didn't put any barrier up when he left Shanks, which was obviously a mistake, lol. I believe Shanks gave this potion to Barto to give to Luffy, so Luffy would be able to complete his journey and not be affected by his devil fruit, something that was otherwise foreshadowed by young Buggy, who's a devil fruit user that didn't go on to Laugh Tale. Interestingly, Luffy doesn't like alcohol, so it'll be interesting to see him explicitly interact with BINK'S sake whenever it does happen. Brook's connection with Laboon is symbolic of unification across the far corners of the world, which will be concluded when Laboon reunites finally with his whale friends on the other side of the world, or the Red Line, right? So there it is, folks, a real brief theory about the green fairy, green blood, and all that business. Am I insane? Are you insane? Are we potentially all insane? Who knows? Leave a comment if you did want to ask any questions or correct me, as I am often just human and I do make mistakes. So if you're new to the channel, then hello, my name's Den Den Kushi. I make One Piece theories, a few of which have collected some pretty huge dubs since we've started, and I also stream alongside the front line of the theory community with The Last Arc, who you can find in our Discord. If you wanted to share your own theories, you're welcome to join the Discord or DM me directly, and if you wanted an idea incorporated into a video, feel free to bring it up. Just engage with me, we'll cook something up. You can support me on Patreon or become a member if you want to join the cause, and we'll get these videos longer, more detailed, and just generally give it a bit more of a boost and just provide videos more frequently. If you made it this far, you've just won some absinthe. Let me know what color fairy you want below. Sharing is caring. Frankie will get the pawpaw fruit. Peace.